Good morning and welcome to Our Issues Milwaukee. I'm your host, Andrea Williams. It's time to send the kids back to school. Students at Milwaukee Public Schools will return to classes on Tuesday, September 2nd. MPS is Wisconsin's largest school district that is committed to accelerating student achievement, building positive relationships between youth and adults, and cultivating leadership at all levels. My first guests are Tina Flood. She's the Chief Academic Officer for Milwaukee Public Schools. And we're also being joined by Patricia Gill, Executive Director of Family and Student Services at MPS. Good morning, ladies.
Good morning. Good morning.
Thank you so much for being here. And just when I said it's time for the kids to go back to school, I just heard all kind of cheers from parents. So let's first and foremost talk about some of the things that we need to cover as parents and students both prepare for that transition. How about MPS enrollment? How in fact does that work, and is there a deadline?
Enrollment for the fall is going on as we speak. There is actually no deadline because right now it's on a first come, first served basis. Parents can visit one of our two parent centers. We have one at North Division that's open and ready to serve parents, and another one at South Division. They can also come to our office at 5225 West Fleet Street, right at the main door. We have staff available to assist parents. Or you can go online from the convenience of your own home, the Milwaukee Public Schools website, and just click Enroll Now. And there you'll be able to look at our offerings and see what schools are available at the various grade levels.
Yeah, and the thing that's really exciting is that there's a large variety of high-performing programs in the city. I think everything from the traditional academic setup and neighborhood schools to language immersion. So when a parent is trying to figure out what school's best for them, that's where those resource centers come into play, and they can also go online and kind of get a feel for what works best for their child.
Absolutely.
All right, so speaking of the many schools that MPS has around the city that are doing very well, you guys were just recognized for 4 high schools that ranked among the best in Wisconsin and the U.S. by U.S. News and World Report, and that has to be something that you're extremely proud about.
Absolutely. Those schools have been high performing for quite some time and have been on the list before. But when you look at those schools, they offer a wide variety of educational programs, so international baccalaureate, language immersion, and then just college preparatory programs. We're very proud of those schools.
And we should shout those schools out. There's Ronald Reagan Prep High School, Rufus King, Carmen High School of Science and Technology, and then Milwaukee School of Languages. And Ronald Reagan came in at number 2, Rufus King number 3, Carmen number 7, and the School of Languages number 12. So when you look at that, how in fact do you motivate all the other schools to reach for this same type of accomplishment?
I think between those 4 schools and other schools in general, there's a little bit of healthy competition because, as I've said, they've been on the list before, and there's a little bit of, you know, can I be higher than the other school next year? So it is very exciting.
Bragging rights, so to speak.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing there's big banners that go up to kind of remind everybody that walks through the doors that this is something we're proud of.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Dr. Darian Driver is the appointed acting superintendent as we go into this new school year. So what in fact can parents and students look forward to for the 2014-15 academic year?
I think one of the things people need to keep in mind is we're really focused on building on the good work we've been doing already. So you won't see a lot of big differences, but you'll see a continuum of the efforts that we've already put in place. We're really proud that we've been increasing the number of art, music, and Phy Ed teachers in our schools. And so this year, all of our parents can look forward to, in our K-8 schools, having art, music, and Phy Ed regardless of the school that they're attending.
That's awesome because so many times we hear of the programs slowly fading away. And I think that all of us can probably attest to remembering the songs that we learned. I remember songs, the Doe Deer, Female Deer. I learned that in a music class back in elementary school. So they really do make a difference in having those type of programs in place.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, and I could want to ask Patricia specifically about those parent resource centers. You did mention that you have them available. So what are some of the things that a parent can get when they go to the center?
Yes, as I said before, we have one at North Division and one at South Division. Parents can expect to find information, first of all, to resources that might help them help their children. That's sort of our little catchphrase for the year. We want to help parents help students, and so we have information available to various community resources. We also provide information on the various programs within the district to help them to understand what they are, because if they know better what we're trying to do, then they can help us promote at home. They can also get information on understanding what it is that their students need to be doing, what the expectations are. They can go there if they need help with enrollment, as I said, not only for this year, but when we come up on early enrollment, if they need information regarding that. We have staff there to help parents connect with school staff as well, not just the staff in those particular centers, but staff around the district. How do you make that connection? How do we improve those relationships? How do we build on what we've done to help our students to have a better academic outcome?
Yeah,
that's what it's all
and
about.
Opening those lines of communication is really where it all starts. That's an awesome thing. And there are before and after school programs that a lot of parents need to keep in mind. Some parents have to be at work a little earlier than others, and so there is somewhere for their child to go if it's at a specific time, I'm sure.
Yes.
Yeah, so what's the earliest of your before school programs? What times does that normally start?
I think it varies by school and by the type of school and the programming that they offer. So, for example, an early school, which starts relatively early, wouldn't have an early morning program.
Right.
But they could learn about that on our school website. But there are camp programs offered by a variety of our schools. There's tutoring. There's recreation activities at some of our schools. So it just depends on what a parent is looking for.
Okay, so there's a little something there for everybody. And there are also programs that cater to students who have different needs. So there's no cookie cutter type of scenario for every student that attends Milwaukee Public Schools. You do offer special education. Talk a little bit about what that entails.
So when you think about the differences in students across the district, you're absolutely right. There's no one-size-fits-all approach to education. And so when students enter our schools, we really are into the core instruction and making sure we're meeting the needs of all of our students. But we do find that at times students need additional help or interventions in some of their subject areas. And then if we find the interventions aren't necessarily meeting the needs, then we're going to move on to the next level in terms of trying to really dissect and figure out what we need to do to serve each of the children. But we have programs who serve children with autism, students with health impairments. So it really depends on the need of the child, but we do try to figure out what those specific needs are and then find the right match in terms of programming.
That's awesome. And Team Up College Access Centers, that's a big deal because the whole idea is to get kids to get excited about higher education, and in order to do that you have to do well in school before you get to that point. So what are some of the things they can do at these centers?
What's great about our centers is we have two locations, one on the north side and one on the south side, and they're staffed with guidance counselors and staff that really understands the college entrance process and the research that needs to be done. We're really proud that the centers are open what we would call non-traditional school hours. So in the evenings, on Saturdays and on Sundays, parents and families can really go as a group to go to the center and get the kind of help that they need in researching colleges, filling out their financial aid application forms, help with the college application. So anyone who's ever gone through that process with a child knows how daunting it is.
Oh, yes.
But we really have the supports at the two centers to help families walk through that process.
Yeah, and another thing that MPS can be extremely proud of is the class of 2014 earned $31 million in scholarships, and that is up $7 million. So somebody's doing something right. Absolutely. And that's great news. So there's also tutoring that's offered and alternative programs outside of the traditional classroom setting. So if you could talk a little bit about that as well.
We have a wide variety of tutoring opportunities available to the students, and again, that does vary by school. So we have a lot of partnerships with different organizations to provide tutoring. So we have programs through the Boys and Girls Club. Cardinal Stritch has a tutoring program at Hampton Elementary School. Different schools, again, offer different types of resources. We have an online program through our T4U program, and again, that targets a specific grade level. That this year or this past year targeted second graders. So it's really an opportunity to give students additional help outside of the normal school day.
All right. Good stuff there. And a little birdie did tell me that Milwaukee Public Schools is still looking for teachers. And so if there's someone out there who has a background or maybe has been looking for an opportunity, there are some still available.
Right. Right now, we have over 5,000 teachers who are employed by Milwaukee Public Schools, and we believe that our number that we need is currently about 80. And of course, that's in some high-need areas. So, for example, bilingual education, special education, and then at the high school level, math and science teachers. So if people are interested, they can go on our website and go to the Employment Opportunities tab, and they'll be able to see all the openings that we still currently have.
Okay. And I think it's important. I know we always focus on the kids getting ready to go back to school, but the truth is parents have to sometimes mentally prepare themselves for this transition as well. So what tips do you have as educators who do with this every year back to back? What would you tell parents they need to do, or just kind of a reminder of some of the things that need to take place as the kids get ready to go back?
So my advice would be to start now. Even though we have a couple weeks left, it's really important to get kids back on a regular schedule, getting enough sleep, getting up early, getting up on time. And if we wait until the night before the first day of school, I think that it creates a little bit of anxiety, especially for teenagers who might have been sleeping a little bit later than they normally do. So getting back into that routine and schedule as a family, I think, is really important.
Oh yes, because you know, like you said, if they're used to sleeping in, when that alarm goes off, teenagers specifically, they just won't move, and you'll spend 20 minutes trying to get them out of bed, right? Right. That's the way it is. And so what advice would you have?
I would say start preparing them for school, you know, regardless of the age. Just read with your children, start to get that homework space ready. You know, you don't have to have an extra room, but just a space where this is going to be dedicated for getting the homework done. And as Ms. Flood said, getting them back into a schedule, a routine, especially. She talked about the older kids, but younger kids, especially if they're just starting, getting up early and being ready for that bus is going to be it's going to be quite a change from just laying around all summer or getting up at their leisure, we should say. So, and then having their supplies ready. So if you go to our website, again, the K-8 supply list has been posted. It's standardized, which is good, and so having their supplies ready and them prepared gets them off to a good start towards success. And I do need to mention that for parents, this year they don't have to worry about the meals. Through a special federal program, all of our students, regardless of income level, will be receiving lunch as well as breakfast. So
for free. For free,
yes.
That's major.
It is.
I remember my mom digging in her purse every day trying to find, back then it was $1. Things have changed, but you know, so that's awesome. That's one less thing for parents to worry about. And also, I know that sometimes kids kind of felt a certain way if they got free lunch versus not. So this kind of puts everybody on the same level and everybody eats for free.
That's right.
And that's awesome. I love that. Finally, I just want you to kind of tell us the importance of just having the kids come back, not only having them kind of awake and ready to go, but also you know, sometimes they're dealing with things at home, and school is the only place where they will get a meal for many kids. How do you identify those kids who are in need and on that level?
I think, again, as I said before, in terms of instruction, we really do get a chance to know our kids and then try to meet their academic needs. But you're right, we are aware of many of the social and emotional needs that students have. So many of our schools have school nurses. We're staffed with psychologists, social workers. So we're really able to provide wraparound services for our students. And again, that comes with being able to know our students as they enter our schools and identifying what additional supports they might need.
Yeah.
But we really do want to provide for the whole child, so not just the academic needs, but the social emotional needs as well.
Absolutely. I think that's important to bring out. So I thank you both for sitting down and talking to us today. Great information that you've shared, and now everybody's definitely ready to go back to school. It's my pleasure. Tina Flood is the Chief Academic Officer for MPS, and Patricia Gill, she's the Executive Director of Family and Student Services. You can log on to MPS mke.com to learn more about Milwaukee Public Schools and all that they have to offer. When we return to Our Issues Milwaukee, we'll talk with a representative from the Universal Academy for the College Bound in Milwaukee, which was created by one of Philadelphia's greatest talents, Mr. Kenny Gamble of Gamble and Huff. We'll talk about how they're getting their students ready for the new school year and their goal to eliminate the academic gap in minority children. We'll do that and more when we return.